In my continued exploration through the characters of some of the most iconic horror movies of all time on my channel, I've run across characters that I genuinely dislike, even the ones that are much liked by almost everyone else. A charming example of that would be Ash's sister Cheryl. I found her to be an aggravating party pooper. Remember that scene where she tries to escape the trees to get back to the cabin and couldn't stay on her feet to save her life?
Back home, that's what we call an overcooked ham.
She just seems to give off this glare of negativity. Listen to the first two lines she utters in the film.
You mean nobody's seen this place yet? This is the bridge we're gonna cross?
The tone in her voice is nothing short of killjoy. When Ash opened that car door on the bridge, he should have fired her ass off the fucking thing. I had my issues with Scotty for other reasons, but I was totally on board with him and his disdain for Cheryl. It was obvious he couldn't stand her and was probably pissed right off that she was even invited in the first place. It was probably supposed to be a couple's weekend to begin with, and then at the last minute, sure as shit, my mom says I have to take my sister. The attack scene, I admit, was a disturbing one. A lewd and lascivious assault by a cluster of oversexed dogwood trees. And to this day, just seeing that branch slamming home, that's enough to make my own crotch hurt. Cheryl's screams were legendary. Not the normal pitchy screams that seem to be the exclusive property of anyone with longer vocal cords, but this raw, guttural, piercing screech that only she could deliver. I hate that. If I had to be stuck with her in a cabin out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, in absence of any demons, I'd figure out a way to conjure up the Wishmaster and gladly hand over my soul in exchange for her vanishing. Once she is possessed, though, she is absolutely brilliant. Best demon in the movie for my money. Maybe even the entire franchise. One by one we will take you. Is there any more terrifying of a way to let you know the Deadites have awoken and ready to party? Look at that pencil stabbed to the ankle. Those guys really don't fuck around. She knew how to be omnipresent, even though most of the time she's locked in the basement and you could only see half her face peering out from the cellar door. I call that a job very well done. But in the run-up to that transformation, she was a total drag to be around. Think of what Ash and Scotty probably had planned for that weekend had she not been there. They were college kids of the 70s. They'd all share a big fatty, play some Twister, then put on the old leopard skin Speedos and swap chicks. But no. At least Ash was still able to give Linda that carny prize of a necklace, so not all was lost. Oh, and just to circle back to that tree attack scene again, when Cheryl's being chased by the Watcher in the woods, she reaches the cabin and is banging on the door, screaming and fumbling and farting around trying to get that old key to work. This goes on for a full 55 seconds, which is good for suspense building, I guess. But that cabin is probably less than 1,000 square feet, so why did it take so long for them to come to the door? I timed myself walking in a slow, dawdling pace from the bathroom to the kitchen in my own house, which was quite the distance, and I managed to complete the journey in 27 seconds. And that was with nobody banging and screaming on the door. I'm guessing they were all standing out behind the cabin at a bit of a distance and sharing a roach, and one of them was like, "Hey, do you hear that? Is that screaming? Is that someone at the door?" And Scotty was like, just ignore it. It's probably a neighbor who wants to borrow a cup of sugar. Ash finally says, "I better go check," and they all walk to the front. What a waste of a good blunt. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Cheryl Williams. I'm sure the actress portraying her is a lovely woman. I'm just not a fan of the character. Curious what everyone else has to think about her, though. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you at the next slaughtering. Bye now.